capacity to do its job.
Speaking on behalf of the technical group, Independent Deputy Stephen Donnelly said, while he had regard for how Minister Shatter had dealt with legislation around the mortgage crisis, it was time for him to go.
The Minister Taoiseach does not have the trust of rank and file Gardaí. He does not have the trust of the Oireachtas. He does not have the trust of GSOC, and he does not have the trust of the public, and he would appear not to have the trust of the Attorney General. The Taoiseach, he may have your trust, but that's not enough for what needs to happen. So I would ask you, as well as many others, will you put the interests of An Garda Síochána and the interests of the public ahead of your loyalty to Minister Shatter and ask for him to step back?
Independent TD Stephen Donnelly there ending it down the Callister's report on proceedings in the Dáil this morning. Brian Downing of our political staff is with me. Various controversies on the table now, Brian. Various questions about who knew what when, particularly the Justice Minister and the Attorney General. Is there any more light shed on all of this after this morning?
We have a little bit more of the detail perhaps of how some events unfolded, but I think maybe for context in this audio, I can't think of any situation where any institution of the state has been subject to any evidence or allegations that it was involved in any kind of surveillance, doing tape recording, that hasn't amounted to political dynamite for whatever government is in power at any stage. And what's really puzzling about this whole affair is that within at least the Attorney General's office and the Garda Síochána, and as recently as 2 weeks ago or so in the Department of Justice, they were aware of these tape recordings, and it is astonishing that nobody could see the huge political fallout that was going to come from this up until Sunday, it appears. And I just think that that's been very hard to comprehend. So let's go back and see what do we know. What we learned this morning was that the Taoiseach rang the Attorney General on Sunday morning, and the Attorney General apparently goes in every Sunday to prepare for Cabinet on Tuesday, which one might expect with Sunday as well. And the tone of the Taoiseach's explanation almost suggests that the Attorney General said to him there was another matter which he needed to become aware of, and she wouldn't talk about this on the telephone, and they met, and she then briefed him on these issues related to the tape recordings. Now, it does beg a question that if the Taoiseach hadn't made the call for whatever reason, maybe they have a regular arrangement, would she have rang the Taoiseach? Would there have been a meeting called in any event? Now, I think to put it in context of this, if you look at the statement made by the Minister, Justice Alan Shatter, earlier, he said that I am informed that on the 19th and the 20th of March 2014, Garda headquarters copied my department with correspondence between An Garda Síochána and both the Office of the Attorney General and the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. And this was in connection with the litigation and the case where a particular tape has come to issue. So last Wednesday and Thursday, this was a live issue between these departments and these agencies. So Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I think a lot of explanations are still required as to why nobody acted in the interim. And we know that Minister Shatter, according to was only shown the letter at 20 to 1 yesterday afternoon. And I think that the explanations so far beg more questions rather than anything else.
All right. Let's bring in Mary Lou MacDonald, Sinn Féin Deputy Leader at this stage. Your party leader, Mary Lou MacDonald, saying all of this and the fact that the Minister was saying he didn't know about this until Monday evening, even though there had been these various documented contacts between the Attorney General's office and the Garda Commissioner's office over these secret Garda recordings. So this shows incompetence on the Minister's part, and that's why he's got to go.
Yes, Anya, Jerry was making the point that at the very least, at a minimum, it reflects a level of gross incompetence, and that Alan Shatter now is in an untenable position. His credibility as Minister for Justice is well and truly shattered, and he needs to go. And he went on to make the point that the Taoiseach's personal loyalty or political loyalty to Alan Shatter can no longer cloud his judgment on this matter, and if he's serious about rebuilding confidence and trust and transforming the Garda service and Garda accountability in this state, well then that will not happen under the watch of Alan Shatter.
I should point out, by the way, we have made several attempts to ask a government spokesperson onto the programme in order to hear their side of the story on this morning's debate, but none was unfortunately available. So I put to you Mary Lou McDonald what Alan Shatter himself said, and what we heard Enda Kenny say in that tape there, that this is the opposition once again playing the personality and not the substantive issue, that it's easier to talk about the man rather than the various issues which have been hanging around injustice and policing for years, that this government and this minister are actually tackling.
Well, that would be a complete distortion of the facts. It is true to say that there have been issues that have reared their head from time to time in respect of effective Garda policing in the state, and some of the cases where that has emerged are well known, I'm sure, to your listeners. But the reality is, Anya, that Alan Shatter is the man in charge of the Department of Justice, and he is accountable to the Dáil, but more importantly accountable to the people in terms of his stewardship and his carrying out of that role. And by any standard, over the last 12 months and more, he has failed in that regard. And it's not good enough for the Taoiseach to try and create a diversion on this matter and accuse people of playing the man rather than the ball. These are very, very serious political matters. They require a very serious response. We have seen that the confidential recipient within An Garda Síochána has been relieved of his duties. The Garda Commissioner has resigned, but yet the Taoiseach doggedly stands by Alan Shatter, even when all of the public evidence makes it very, very clear that that is not the right thing to do. It is not in the best interests of the proper administration of justice or confidence in An Garda Síochána or of winning public trust on these matters.
sacrificed in order to save the minister. And certainly we've seen another bold move out of the minister during statements in the Dáil earlier this morning, where he seemed to try and implicate the Attorney General and her actions, or indeed inactions, in relation to making members of the government aware of this whole situation in relation to the recording of conversations in and out of Garda stations. But the point is this: the government, true to form, seek to blame everybody else except themselves. They seek to remove people from office. The Garda Commissioner, we've seen the confidential recipient, we know how they dealt with the penalty points issue, the bugging of GSOC, the whistleblowers. It's everybody else's fault with this government. They're not prepared to take responsibility. They're not prepared to act accordingly. They always will find a convenient mechanism or a convenient avenue to blame somebody
The
else.
matter is that these are problems of long standing, as Alan Shatter himself made clear in the Dáil today. You know, none of these problems appeared on this government's watch. They've been around for a long
Absolutely.
time. So these are various problems that have been existing in the area of policing and justice that certainly when Fianna Fáil was in government for 3 terms were not tackled and are now being brought out into the light of day, and opposition and the Dáil and the public informed as soon as the Taoiseach and the Minister for Justice themselves find out.
I acknowledge that in my statement to the Dáil this morning. I wasn't laying any blame at the feet of Minister Shatter for conducting or indeed authorising or sanctioning the recording. But what Minister Shatter is responsible for is the administration of justice and the oversight and